Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome. Let's make sure we're live here. We are live. Yeah, on this Monday, October 16th. Fantastic. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, and we are streaming live right now on Rumble, rumble.com/coffeenuancelive/live. We're also on YouTube and a couple other places where nobody seems to follow, but today we got some good stuff, and today is going to be a Middle East free show. So if you're looking for to be depressed, go somewhere else. Today, we're talking about the end of passwords. Yeah, Google's got a new trick up its sleeve. You tried logging in recently, like this weekend? They want you to use your fingerprint or a face scan to unlock your digital life. Can you believe it? I mean, this isn't Minority Report. I am not Tom Cruise. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for technological advancements, but this one's got me questioning whether I should be wearing my tinfoil hat full time. My tinfoil hat is a Stetson, by the way. We're talking about linking our most personal features to every digital activity, from unlocking your phone to ordering your pizza. That's right, folks. They want your pizza preference locked behind a retina scan. Are you ready for that? But let's be real. We all know life can be messy. Your phone can sometimes not recognize your fingerprint because you've been gardening, or your face scan fails because you've had one too many at happy hour. Suddenly, you're locked out of your digital life for being a little too human. What about security? They say fingerprints and face scans are foolproof. But I've seen enough spy movies to know that if you want to get into a top secret lair, you just need a severed finger or a lifelike mask. Hollywood taught us that. So, are we all just going to start wearing Halloween masks to protect our own digital identity? Hello, I'm Tom Coffey, and today I feel like a werewolf. Let's not forget about trust. We're talking about trusting tech companies with our most personal data because, you know, Google has such a pristine record of not using our data for, well, anything, right? Yeah, that's never happened. But folks, here's the kicker. Every time we trade a little bit of privacy for convenience, we inch closer to a world where your toaster and Google and the government knows more about you than your therapist. So while I'm all for progress, let's remember that convenience can be the Trojan horse for big tech's invasion into our own personal lives. When that happens, it won't be a face scan that unlocks the door to our digital future. It'll be our regrets. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, a censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. Just finishing my backup coffee, because I got my regular coffee right here, nice and hot. Happy Monday, y'all. Glad you joined me for this. But yeah, I noticed this over the weekend. I kept getting this message about passkeys. Every time I went to YouTube or Google or anything like that, I got this message. Decided to look into it a little bit more, and Google is promoting the use of passkeys as an alternative to traditional passwords for unlocking accounts and devices, and now it's going to be the default. Yeah, passkeys supposedly are more secure and user-friendly, using methods like fingerprint or face scans. Google aims to eventually replace traditional passwords with passkeys. They're already used in apps like YouTube, Search, and Maps. With more services adopting them, this technology is based on some standards by some place. It's also supported by companies like Apple and Microsoft, because, you know, that's who we need to trust. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And I understand people don't like passwords, and it's more convenient, you know, just to turn on the camera. I actually had this with my TV until I changed it, you know. Like my PlayStation wants me to log in with my face. No. I don't want the camera above my TV checking in to make sure it's me who wants to, play Just Dance or something. Something silly like that. And this can... Here's the problem. The problem is most people are just dumb and they'll go along with it. They'll just go along with it. And it'll get to be the point, and I understand this is how it works, right? It's this kind of nudge way of doing things. They're going to make it so hard to log in with a password that eventually you give up and you're just like, all right, turn on the camera. I can't go through this anymore. They're just going to want to authenticate. They're just going to make it a bigger pain in the butt. This is coming to log in with the traditional password. Because they're going to want your fingerprint. They're going to want your eye scan. They're going to want your face. And this is what's happening. Now, I can't do anything about it. I'm just telling you what's happening. There's nothing I can do about it. And it's not good. It has nothing to do with freedom, you know. It kind of seems antithetical to all things American, but that is the way that it's going. And I suspect that just over time, most people are going to buy into this. They're going to ridicule people that use traditional passwords, and it'll get to be the point that you can't even use your technology without giving up this information. I wish I could give you a something to do about. This is what's going to happen. I'm not saying to give up immediately. I will not be doing that. But we all know where this is heading. And especially when we have leaders in our government that don't understand technology, that don't understand privacy, that don't understand freedom, that don't understand any of these things, there's not much we can do. I'm not saying to just roll over and take it, but yeah, it is what it is. I encourage you not to. And I'm sure that'll make this video even more hidden than it already is. But anyway, we got a good show for you today. Today, I wanted to go through a couple news stories, none of which deal with the Middle East. There's a lot of really bad takes right now on the Middle East. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I don't want to contribute to that. However, I am capturing a lot of bad takes so that we can look at them in the future on just how either captured some people in the media are or just how dumb they are. So that's coming. That's coming. But right now, I just want to avoid that topic. If I can't add some positivity to it, then I just want to stay away. So, but first up, I want to talk about digital and physical media. And it kind of ties in with the monologue today. I said I would make a longer bumper so I could get a slug of coffee. I still haven't done that. But, folks, Best Buy is giving up on selling DVDs and Blu-rays in 2024. They're saying it's because we watch movies and TV shows differently now, and they need space for new tech, so get ready for Best Buy's exciting new section, futuristic gadgets we're all going to forget about in a year. So here's the story. Best Buy is discontinuing the sale of DVDs and Blu-rays in stores and online starting in 2024, making the end of an era for physical media enthusiasts. The company cited changing consumer viewing habits as the desire to create space for new tech and as their reason for this decision. Best Buy will continue to sell physical copies of video games. This move aligns with the decline of physical disc sales, with revenues dropping significantly from 2022 to 2023. Netflix has also recently ended its for-rent physical disc service, opting for streaming, reflecting the changing landscape of media consumption. So that's it. DVDs are done. We're not going to be able to get that. Now, just because DVDs are going the way of the dinosaur, the VHS tape, the 8-track, all of that, it's going away. I still think it's important to own your media, to own it. And there are different ways of owning media. I've been collecting media for a long time. I've been collecting it in digital form, so on hard drives. I've been collecting movies and TV shows and whatnot, because sometimes they go away. And, you know, in the future, it really has an impact on how you watch media. Now, let's say you're into Friends, right? You really like the show Friends. That's your thing. You watch it every evening as you're getting ready for dinner. You put on Friends. Well, if you own all of Friends in maybe even digital form, or DVDs or in digital form, like on a hard drive, and you can play them, you can play it without commercials, without telling the government what you're watching, right? Without being spied upon, and without commercials, right? Because streaming services might just start pumping in commercials, whether you pay for them or not. That's coming. I've heard talk about Netflix doing this. I've heard talk about Amazon Prime doing this, that you're going to have to pay even more to not have commercials. There are many shows that I like that are on some services, and the only way to watch them is with commercials. I don't like that in my life. I would rather just own the media and be able to watch it commercial-free, and also without telling the man that I'm watching it. They don't need to know. Right? The government doesn't need to know that I watch Ishtar every year. Okay? They don't need to know that. They already do know it, but they don't need to know it. So perhaps now actually owning digital media that you don't have DVDs for, I guess it gets into some copyright stuff, and I'm not going to promote that, I guess, right? And maybe I can talk about that further at some other time. But yeah, DVDs going away. And I have really mixed feelings about it. Because I do think that it's important that we own our entertainment. And it's the same thing with books, right? If all the books go away and you can't get a physical book and you can only have it digitally, you can't share it with a friend, right? You know, if you have a DVD, if you have a movie that you like, you can share it with other people if you own the media. If you don't own the media, if it's just streaming, you can't do that. So, end of an era. Anyway, next up, I want to talk about some international politics, not about the Middle East. So, yeah, we got Ecuador's election. It's almost as if they're taking the term banana republic a bit too literally. I mean, a banana tycoon's son as president? It's like having a pizza magnate run Italy or a cheese enthusiast lead France, but hey, At least they won't have a shortage of potassium in their government. But bump. Okay, here's the story. Center-right candidate Daniel Noboa, 35-year-old son of a banana tycoon, has won Ecuador's presidential election with 52% of the vote. His main rival, leftist candidate Luisa Gonzalez, conceded defeat. The election was driven by concerns over rising violence and a worsening security situation in Ecuador, exemplified by the assassination of a presidential candidate before the first round of voting. Yikes. Noboa's promises include creating job opportunities for the youth, attracting foreign investment, using technology to combat crime, and implementing anti-corruption measures. Gonzalez aimed to address security issues by tackling root causes like poverty and inequality. The new president faces significant challenges. Voter turnout was over 82%. So that's a lot, but considering how small the country is, maybe that's not unusual. But I did a story earlier this year, right, where presidential candidate was offed in Ecuador. So they had to get some new candidates, and these were the new candidates. And now we've got a banana tycoon's son is now president. This was him voting, and of course he's wearing what appears to be a bulletproof vest, which is probably good thinking, as did the other candidate. When she went to vote, she was also wearing a bulletproof vest. Scary. Scary. But Noboa, he has been talking about looking at the corruption, the way that it was tackled in El Salvador in dealing with crimes and gangs, and it will be interesting to see if that is implemented in Ecuador as well. It was a very close race. The competition was kind of a far leftist. And basically, when I hear about a far leftist taking over a Latin American country, typically the pattern has been the economy there just doesn't do very well. One, for leftist policies, but also because we know that the United States is going to implement some sanctions or something to make sure that it fails. Right? So it's kind of a twofer. Yeah, I guess it is a banana republic. It's funny, I never knew that term growing up. I heard Banana Republic as the clothing store, and I didn't realize what it was named after. But that would be... but I guess that's pretty much what we have now in Ecuador. So yeah, let's keep an eye on it and see what happens there. Next up should come as no surprise to anyone that's ever tried to change their diet. You know, folks, they say that ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are as addictive as nicotine, cocaine, or heroin. But hey, at least when you're addicted to junk food, you're not out there pulling smash and grabs to fund your potato chip habit. Yeah, so ultra-processed foods like sausages, sugary cereals, they're all as addictive as substances like nicotine, cocaine, and heroin. A recent analysis of 281 studies found that over 14% of adults are hooked on UPFs, which are associated with health issues. These foods trigger cravings. There's a combination of refined carbs and fats that may enhance their addictive potential. While not everyone is equally susceptible, some experts call for tobacco-style advisories on certain foods. To minimize UPF intakes, you can ask yourself, is this product genuinely food? That's right. The helpful hints on how to deal with this is to ask yourself before you buy it, because if you buy it and you bring it home, you're going to eat it, right? So before you buy it, ask yourself, is this actually food? That's their recommendation. Is this actually food? And I think, you look at something like Apple Jacks, well, probably not. Right? Now, we know that food scientists have been working for decades on making foods more and more and more addictive. Right? So this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone that these ultra-processed foods are highly addictive. And I know that they're as addictive, at least to me, as cocaine. Not cocaine. Why did I say cocaine? Maybe that was just on my mind. I was thinking of powdered donuts. as heroin, I guess heroin, nicotine, and cocaine. I never thought cocaine was that addictive, but but heroin, yes, heroin and fentanyl, meth, all those things, and nicotine, very, very, very addictive. Because I don't know how anyone can go to sleep at night if they actually have, Rocky Road ice cream in their freezer. I mean, how can you sleep knowing that there's Rocky Road ice cream in the freezer? I can't do it. That's why I just don't buy it. I don't allow it in my house, because if it's in my house, I'm going to eat it. And that's why I think one of the best things you can do to deal with this addiction is just don't bring those foods into your house. Just get whole foods. I know it's hard, but life will be better if you can kick that habit. Because addiction is really ugly no matter what you're addicted to. Especially if your addiction is hurting your health. So there you go. It's official. They looked at all these different studies. Boom. It's as bad as heroin. So probably, if it's as bad as addicting as heroin, probably shouldn't be buying it for your kids. But that's just my take. Anyway, we need some good news today. Let's get to the good news of the day. California just passed a right to repair law forcing tech companies to provide smartphone parts for 7 years. It's like a Hollywood marriage, but with a longer commitment to fixing things. Yeah. So here's the story. The California state government has passed a groundbreaking right to repair law, making it the third state in the U.S. to do so. The law mandates that technology companies must provide parts and manuals for repairing smartphones for 7 years after their release. The bill also guarantees consumers' right to replacement parts for 3 years for devices costing between $50 and $99, and 7 years for devices costing over $100. The legislation retroactively affects devices made and sold in 2021. This move aims to reduce e-waste and increase repairability. It doesn't address parts pairing, a practice linking hardware to specific software, limiting repairs outside of the manufacturer's purview. I know this all gets complicated, but advocates believe this California law will inspire similar legislation in other states. And, I think it is important. This is really good news. How much does it suck when you buy something? It's like a couple years old, one little piece in it breaks, and you can't get it fixed because they're no longer support. You can't buy parts for it. Now, often what I've found is that parts are just too damn expensive, and technology advances so quickly that it's just cheaper to throw it out and buy something new. Because we do live in this kind of disposable tech society. But if you care about the planet, if you care about maybe saving a couple bucks, this right to repair, I think, is a good thing. I mean, typically I'm against unnecessary regulations, but if you're going to put out a product, you should have to make the parts available for at least a short number of years. So if things break, they can be repaired. And I think that is good news. Now, this is only in California and 2 other states. But if they have to make the parts available in California, you're going to be able to get them no matter where you are, right? You can order the parts from California. Anyway, I think that is good news because we just throw away too much stuff, too much digital stuff as it is. And just having the right to fix it is a step in the right direction. You know, we hear about all these, how we want to care about the environment and care about, all the climate catastrophe and everything like that. Well, these tech companies ought to do something about it. And they could do that by making sure that we can repair our tech. So I give that a thumbs up. I'm all for it. That's the good news of the day. In times like this, there's just so much awful news going on. I try to come up with something positive to end the show. So that's what I got today. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'll go through all your comments and give you a couple more takes on things. But I will be back on Wednesday with a big idea. Hope to see you then. Remember, all the cool kids, smash the like button. If you haven't done so far, I appreciate you for doing that. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'll see you on Wednesday. Peace. Wow, look at all these people watching today. My God, so many. Yeah. Rev68 hanging out over there on Rumble. I'm not sure who I trust the least, big tech or the government. It's probably a tie at 0 out of 100 trust level. Well, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe they're the same thing. Yeah, maybe not technically, but they're the same thing. It says, I buy physical media mostly because the stuff I like will probably be banned in 10 or 20 years. That's true. Things go away. You've heard about that. Sometimes there will be an episode, there might be an off-color joke or something like that, and it's no longer streaming. That episode will no longer be streaming at all. So if you have the media, you can now continue to enjoy that show. The USA has a banana as the commander-in-chief. I'm pretty sure that makes us a banana republic. Maybe not literally, but I think the idea with the banana republic is that businessmen that own the big companies, right? So in these Latin American countries, that the biggest business would be a banana plantation, if you will. But the idea is the businesses that own the big companies are the ones that run those governments. And with that definition, it's not too far to say that we live in the same. Yeah. Anyway, Apothecary John checking in over there on YouTube. What's up? Aileen Durell. I'm going to have to learn how to say your name because you always come in with some fun emojis. Good to see you. One step closer to 1984. Yeah, we're already there. I saw over the weekend Elon Musk had a tweet or a post, whatever you want to call it, and it had to do with 1984. I don't remember it, but it was funny at the time. Processed food means it needs less processing in our bodies, so it's actually healthy. /S, so that's I love that. The /S is old school internet for sarcasm. You would put something in, say something sarcastic, and of course you end it with a /S, ending the sarcasm. Explaining jokes, always good. That's why I'm doing that. Uh, I do think that there should be something that we can do to let people know that our comment is sarcastic, because so often people don't understand. They take these things literally. /S is good. I know that at a time sarcasm was put in italics, right? That was another way to designate sarcasm. Maybe a winky face emoji, something like that, but it's good. It says, I'm addicted to laziness. Work. There's always tomorrow. I'm with you there. Fairphone has been doing easily/cheaply fixable phones for some years now. I have heard of Fairphone, but I have not looked into them. You know, often the companies that come up with this, they're not exactly cheap. They're not exactly cheap. I've been a Motorola guy for a while just because it seems to be the best bang for your buck. And you can also... Not sure if I want to say it. Never mind. But it's the best bang for your buck. And you have pretty good control over the whole system. Yeah. Anyway, like I said earlier, there's so many bad takes right now on the Middle East. Frankly, if it's something that people don't really understand, probably the best thing to do would be to shut up, right? That would be my recommendation. But people really are putting out the absolute worst takes, the dumbest takes possible. It's really hard to put out a statement about what happened over there. I think John Oliver last night actually started his show with a pretty decent statement that I think most people would be okay with. You know, just being able to acknowledge what's happening over there and that it's a tragedy and, you know, human life and all that stuff. But boy, for the most part, people are saying some horrible stuff, and but they probably won't have to pay for it. There'll probably be no consequences for it, because that's just kind of how things are. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. On Wednesday, I will have Big Idea. Hey, what's up, Legalese? Good to see you. I will have a big idea, and I think it's going to be a real good one. So I hope to see you then. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Peace.